Hey, I'm John. I'm a husband, I'm a high school science teacher, and I am on a mission to prove that anybody with a good enough idea, a little bit of money, and a little bit of time can start a successful small business side hustle selling something that they make in their house. For me, that thing is bath bombs. Now, if you've seen any of my videos before, this angle might seem a little bit funky. I'm standing in the corner of my tiny spare room that I make my bath bombs in. So I wanted to show you a little bit of this space, show you what I'm working with here, the limitations that I have, as well as the way I'm able to maximize what I have in order to kind of make things function and do what I need to do. So I'm going to flip you around. I'm going to show you what's in here. I'll talk through a little bit of this. And then towards the middle and the end of this video, I have broken down the cost of every single item that I have that's a permanent thing. So I didn't include anything that is a material for my bath bombs, but anything that's an item from the tables to the modular stands that I have. It's just my dog there. Everything that is included in the workflow, the process that is not a limited item that runs out, I've included. So I'll show you the cost of all of this, what it took to start. I'll give you some tips on what I think worked, what I would have done differently if I were to change this, and then I'll kind of leave you with some pointers there from what I've learned so far. So let me flip you around and I'll give you the little tour of what I've got going on here. Okay, I'm going to put you in 0.5 because it's not a big space. First and foremost, you'll notice the paneling that I put up. That was a project this fall over this Christmas. Fun little thing. Had a little bit of extra cash today I was able to put towards that. So a lot of fun. But as you can see, not a lot of space inside of this tiny room. I'll post in the description the actual dimensions of this guest room so you can get a perspective for the kind of limitations that are in this room. But on this side, the right side of the room, I've got table number 1. Underneath it, I've got my dehumidifier and then my air purifier here, just to make sure that the conditions in here are ideal for making bath bombs. I've got a printer that's probably as old as I am, that somebody gave me a long time ago. And then I have the sealing area. So this is where I shrink wrap and then heat seal my bath bombs. I'll be showing you the price of this whole setup, what this costs, and how much it cost me to get this in here and put in this spot. I've got my little bookcase with some books and other documents and things. Flipping around to the other side of my gargantuan room back here, I have another table set up with my air compressor and then the actual press that I use to press all of the bath bombs. You can see an example of what these actually look like here when they come out of that press. So this is kind of one of my prototypes. I am really close to having a finished product that I'm happy with. And this is one of the first ones that came out of the press and actually held together. So I'll be getting into the details of the bath bombs themselves in another video. But these are a lot of the materials that I use to actually make the bath bombs. I got my KitchenAid mixer. That was a gift from my grandma. And then I've got some bowls, some scales, some cups, a lot of stuff that you would expect to see for somebody measuring stuff out and working in the lab, if you will. I've got my personal dresser and my closet. And then I have this black modular shelving that was pretty cheap online. It just provides some extra storage in the kind of side of my room here, and this lets me organize things in a way that makes more sense. I can keep things that are heavier out of the way on the bottom, and then I kind of work my way up to stuff that I maybe access more often here at eye level, and then the lighter stuff I store on the top there. And that's it. That's this entire space. This is where I do everything. I record my videos in here. I make the bath bombs in here. Everything I do is run from this space. So I'm going to get set up to do a little bit of talking through the price of all of this. And then I'll flip the camera back around in just a second. As you can see, not a lot of space that we're working with here, and a lot that we're trying to do in this small space. I've put together a list of all of the different things that I purchased that are permanent. So my mixer, my mixing bowls, my presses, even my little handheld presses for the bath bombs. I've put together that list. So I'm going to put that up here for you to actually see. You can see the grand total here. The cost of all of the things that I have, the shelving, the tables, everything, all of it is just south of 2,500 bucks, $2,482. 49 cents if you wanted to buy exact copies of every single thing that I have in this room right now to make bath bombs. That might sound like a lot of money, especially considering the fact that the majority of Americans don't even have enough in savings to cover a $500 incident if it were to come up. So it might sound impossible. Where on earth am I going to get $2,500 just for all of the materials, let alone the supplies that I would need to actually make the bath bombs themselves? I do have a little bit of advice on that end. I did not acquire all of these things at the same time. So I originally had the idea for this all the way back in 2020 in COVID. I was living in Illinois at the time. I was actually living for free as a resident director at the college that I attended. So life was pretty good financially. COVID was a super boring time for all of us. As a teacher, I was not safe from that boredom. So my idea was to start some sort of small business, which was the impetus for this entire project. I never took it super seriously. I gave it like a half try in Illinois. And in that time, I purchased some of the materials that you see here. So my first piece of advice would be buy what you absolutely need first and save the rest for later. So if I had to cut down this list, the list that I've shown you, if I had to choose just a couple of things to get started, I would probably choose one mixing bowl. I would choose one strainer. I don't need the KitchenAid for doing this. I could mix it by hand if I really wanted to get started. I would choose a scale. I would need at least one table in order for me to get started, and then I would just get one set of hand molds. With those things, that would be enough materials for me to kind of get this started and then sort of build from there. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit more effort and take a little bit more time on the front end when you first get started if you're limiting your materials that way. But if you don't have the finances, it's totally fine to start with just the bare minimum and then build your way up from there. So again, I would really only need 5 or 6 items, maybe a mixing bowl as well, or rather a measuring cup so I could measure things out. But with just those items, I could start this business from scratch and really do what I needed to do. Now, like I said, in my situation specifically, I was living for free at the time. I had a little bit of extra cash that I was able to throw at this. So many of the things that are on this list, I actually purchased almost 5 years ago now, and then just didn't use for that whole time. I tried making some bath bombs. I got some that I thought were okay. I sold a few at like a couple of local little tiny farmers markets, but it was never anything legit. Now is when I'm really giving it a true effort, which is why I'm documenting this process, both as a guide and as accountability for myself to make sure that I actually follow through with everything that I'm trying to do. So my first piece of advice would be just buy the stuff that you need to get started. Then you can acquire more things from there. My other piece of advice from kind of my own process here and what I've done, if you have stuff in your home that can serve the purpose that you need, there's no need to buy extra things. I've put a few things on this list that I already had. The KitchenAid mixer was a gift from my grandma, so I actually didn't need to purchase that. But if you wanted to do this, you would need to buy one. The Pyrex glassware, I had some of those in my kitchen, so I use those for both. I wash them in between, obviously, but I use those for both things. So there are a couple little odds and ends. Things that I have at home that I can double and use in my business. So you can save money that way as well. The third and final piece of advice that I would probably offer is that time is also a resource for you. So if you have the funds and you're looking to maybe get some of these materials and make your life a little bit easier as you actually start this process, I would really emphasize spending the money on something that's going to save you the most time. What's going to make your process the easiest? What's going to expedite this for you and save you that time? It's probably even a more valuable resource than money. At the end of the day, it's a super finite thing. So when you're looking to maybe expand and start like getting really into the production of your stuff, what tool or what piece of equipment could you acquire that would maximize the time that you would save as you actually start kind of growing and building? So that would be my advice in terms of the things that you've seen. For me, that would be the air compressor and the bath bomb press. So those save a ton of effort and a ton of time. I just have to press 2 buttons instead of filling little molds, pushing them together, then taking the time to tap them with a spoon and separate them and get the bath bomb out. It saves so much time. So that was something that kind of was a purchase that satisfied that need. So this is where I'm at currently. I have yet to sell a single one of these here in Oklahoma. I'm still working on formulating my actual bath bomb. I'm so close to getting it perfected. So I'll be recording that process and maybe sharing a little bit more on that end here in the near future in terms of what the bath bombs look like, what goes into them, and kind of how I've formulated those. So that pretty much sums this up. I've shown you behind the scenes of every single thing that I've purchased in here, what it would cost you if you wanted to copy this and do this exact same thing. You could with that picture that I shared earlier in this video. So feel free to take that if you want to. We could do this together, make bath bombs on your own. But hopefully this gives you some good perspective into what this takes, maybe financially as well as time-wise, in terms of that commitment. You can see I'm still in my full work attire. I got home, ate dinner, and immediately came in here and started to work on this. So I'll be filling you in more in the future on, again, the actual bath bomb process. I did, exciting news, get approved for an LLC in Oklahoma. In my last video, kind of a meme, I got rejected by the state because I failed to put LLC in my title. So now that is squared away, which means I'll be able to start the actual Shopify store here very shortly, and then I can start to actually sell products. So that is coming up in the near future. I'm excited to post about that and kind of share that process. Also, I just wanted to address in that last video, super embarrassing, forgot to end it. Let the music stream for like 2 minutes of nothing. Thank you to the guy who called that out and made that comment. Super funny, super embarrassing. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. But hopefully you're enjoying kind of this process and seeing what goes on behind the scenes. I will keep posting if you keep watching. Even if you don't, I'll still be posting. So it'll just be me here, but I'll be keeping myself accountable at least. So hopefully you enjoyed. Again, thank you for checking this out. If you want to stick around, fantastic. If not, that's okay too. Hope you enjoyed and have a good one. See you next time.